or you can watch us. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. And I believe everyone needs a good pair of boots. And if you're in the market for a new pair, we want you to think Mississippi made. We've got joining us today Ben Bowen. He's the founder of Double B Boots, which in just over a year has already sparked the interest of celebrities like Moreland Wallen and Hardy, who are sporting his boots, and others. So welcome, Ben.
Hey, Rebecca, how are you?
Congratulations, buddy, on all the success in just over a year. Have you even stopped to think, like, what a whirlwind it's been for you?
It's been a whirlwind since day one, so I think about it all the time.
I'm sure you do. And I mean, just recently really catching wind of these Double B boots sort of going around social media, and I was like, oh, look at that. That's a Mississippi boy. So I have to know the story behind it. I know that Double B is connected to your family farm, but why boots for you? What took you to boots?
Yeah, so I grew up in Mississippi. I grew up in Pontotoc, Mississippi. My dad is a fourth-generation farmer, so grew up on our farm. He farms cotton, soybeans, and corn, and that was just always, a big part of our life, just, doing things outdoors and everything, and just a great childhood, growing up on a farm. But I also grew up showing horses, so boots was just something I kind of just wore all the time that I always loved. So it kind of just made sense that would be the products that I would, one day be able to make and have a business with.
No, it doesn't, Ben. Not everybody who likes boots says, you know what, one day I'm going to figure out how the sole and everything comes together and make this product my own.
Well,
but
it was a lot of things had to come together for sure, and I think the Lord surely has been in every detail of it. So, my first year, I went to Ole Miss. In my first year after college, I worked in the furniture industry. So that gave me a lot of insight as to just how obviously it's totally different than the clothing industry or making boots. But it certainly gave me a ton of insight as to kind of how that business worked, and just a lot of help with people in that industry. Also, kind of helped.
Well, I think that's too, like to pick boots. For most folks, I think everyone in Mississippi, especially if you were raised any kind of rural, you at least have a pair, right? It's kind of like everyone has a pair of good boots, or you should have a pair, or wants a pair of good boots. Maybe I should say it that way. But I feel like it's something that's in most of our closets, and most of them have a pretty high sort of price tag. It's like you only need, one good pair for weddings and funerals, and then you have your work pair in that way. But then you have like this middle road. And so is that sort of where you saw a Double B sort of being? Because looking at like some of your prices there, they're not something that everyone's going to have in every color, but they're definitely, I feel like, obtainable for more folks. Was that very intentional for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think, there's, like you say, there's boots that cost as much as some people's cars, I'm sure. But I think, I feel like Double B is kind of in that sweet spot of being able to, we're a boot that will definitely last you a lifetime, that is, not going to break the bank, but it'll be a pair that you can dress up, dress down, wear it to the office, wear, like you say, wear it to a wedding, or, like every day, just outside, hunting or whatever you want to do. It kind of just covers all the bases for you.
So when you decided to open Double B, I'm assuming, were you a business major there in Oxford? Was that what you got your degree in?
Yeah, I was. I was in the business school. I was actually in marketing and corporate relations. So.
Was this like any of your school projects? I know we've had some cool stories here on Good Things where students at either Ole Miss or Mississippi State have taken like an idea they did in school and then actually see it develop into fruition. Or is this something that you created, Ben, after you graduated, just knowing that was going to be, you were going to be an entrepreneur of some kind?
Yeah, no, I did not do this in college, but it was certainly, I think I always knew I wanted to have my own business, or I don't know if I should say always, but definitely something I was open to. It just took a while, I guess, to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. But it was not a project in college, but it kind of just came about a few years after college. Like I say, other jobs that I had, and it just kind of, I don't know, my mind's always working in a million ways. So kind of just got the idea and realized that there was room in the market for it, and kind of thought I could make it happen. So I kind of just went for it.
So how do you do that next, Ben? I know you've already got the name. I mean, they're utilizing what your family farm, which is Double B Farm. So Double B Boots sounds, I mean, just makes sense to sort of expand that brand. But how do you get started next? I mean, do you draw it out? Do you go to like a boot place to sort of like get a prototype? Like, I'm very curious. What's the next step?
Yeah. No, everybody asks that. So I always say, I wish I could tell you there was like a step 1, step 2 process, but it certainly wasn't. So I think, I always liked boots, obviously, and always kind of every Christmas and everything, I was always looking online, seeing, what kind of boots I could get for Christmas or what I was going to ask for. And so I was always just obsessed with, all kind of boots and, everything like that. So I always kind of had in mind, I guess, my perfect boot or what I wanted to own. And it was kind of always hard to find. A lot of boots are some crazy colors and shapes and everything. And so I was like, well, I think I can just make what I want. And then I just, the biggest hurdle, I guess, was finding someone that could make them. So I found a factory. We make our boots in Mexico, so I've got a factory in Mexico. So I traveled down there. Funny story. So one of the guys that has worked for my dad since I was born, 25 or so years, he actually traveled down there with me. He was from Mexico. So it was a pretty crazy story, just, having somebody like that that's a friend, lifelong friend and family member, it seems like, that's able to travel with you and kind of be a translator and everything. So that's another thing that I feel like the Lord had a hand in. So it makes everything easier. But traveled down to Mexico and found a factory and kind of, had my ideas together and was able to it was a 3-year process, I would say. It wasn't.
When did you get your first pair of Double B boots, and were they for you or somebody else?
They were for me, I guess. I wore them. They're sitting on my shelf right now in my house. But I guess 2 years ago. So I probably had, a sample of what I wanted for a solid year or two, probably 2 years before I was able to get it all in production. So
I guess it was November of 2022 when Double B kind of went to market, I guess is how to say. Mm-hmm. Are you online only, or are you in like local stores or boutiques, or do you have a storefront, Ben?
So I do primarily online, but I'm in 2 retail stores right now. I'm in Hinton in Oxford, and then a store called MLM Clothiers in Tupelo, Mississippi. So,
when did you start getting real traction? Because it's one thing to just have a product, you love it, but when did you start to feel like, hey, maybe this is picking up, people are recognizing it? Obviously, you've got, major names in the music industry wearing it now. Did that help, or did the sort of snowball start first?
That certainly helped, but to be honest with you, right when we started, I feel like I started at a great time. I started about this time last year. It was Christmas, so everybody is doing a lot of shopping then and everything, and it was the time of year to wear boots and everything. So honestly, when I first started, I was overwhelmed at just the support that friends and family and local Mississippians were able to give and get some boots. And so it's been great since day one, honestly. But I will say, the more events that I've gone to, the more people have just I've been able to share my story and everything. I think the more people you can be in front of, the more obviously it helps. So it's just a steadily thing of just continuing to grow. And but like I say, it was great when we started, and it's just continued to be great, and I'm super thankful for it.
Well, Ben, we're wishing you all the success. Keith and Meridian said he has 2 closets full of boots, and he's happy to hear about Double B boots because he's a boot man, which I think most will. So tell us where to go. Where can we go if we can look at what you got and more about the product?
Yeah. So you can go to doublebboots.com, and it's got a selection of men and women's boots, different styles. I think we've got about 14, 15 styles now. So,
well, best of luck to you, Ben. If you're ever in the Jackson area, walk your boots right on in to the studio, all right?
Yeah, I will.
All righty, you guys stick with us. We got more for you coming up next.